Well, good afternoon, and welcome to today's Smart Investing Briefing. Today, some important news came out. It was the third quarter GDP, and that stands for Gross Domestic Product, increased 3.5%. And wow, look at the economy. The economy now is almost $21 trillion economy. That's huge.
Oh, I mean, that's very impressive. I think last year about 19 trillion, somewhere in there. I mean, again, seeing pretty good growth here. I mean, 3.5%, slightly below the, I think we saw 4.2% in Q2, and then also beat estimates of 3.4% for that initial reading on GDP. Important to point out here, though, GDP, I don't know how much data they gather on their first release of the data, but important to note there will be multiple revisions to the report. So we'll have to see next month what the revision looks like. I mean, there's just so much data in a $20 trillion economy, you can't expect these economists to pull it all together on their first shot.
Yeah, this is a pretty good number. I mean, it won't revise a whole lot, but it gives you the idea where we stand and so forth. Very happy with this number because the concern is like, oh, with the tariffs and the trade wars and this and so forth, things are looking very good. Well, actually, consumer spending grew 4% this time. That's phenomenal.
Oh, it's great, especially when you consider that consumer spending is about 70% of GDP. So you have a strong consumer, and that consumer stays strong for a long period of time. And that's how you get consistent GDP growth.
And I believe that's the best growth on consumer spending since 2014, I believe the number was. So doing very well. And all this concern about, again, the trade talks and rising interest rates, which we'll see that this coming quarter, but it just doesn't keep happening, all these concerns. It's so amazing to me, getting off track a little bit, but why the stock market's having all these crazy gyrations right now, because consumers are spending and feeling pretty good.
I'll tell you why it's having gyrations. It's because it's the stock market. People think it's so easy. There are going to be things that move up and down, and people overreact. It's just part of the stock market. And
that's a whole other segment.
Yeah.
But I just kind of jumped off track there. And then one thing that we will talk about was business investment.
Yeah, business investment, it slowed. It still saw some growth there, but I think a lot of this business investment slowdown was due to, again, the tariffs, uncertainty, not sure how to really enact business moving forward. I don't think they're concerned about the consumer. I don't think they're concerned about an economic peak or anything like that, but I think they're not sure what the best way to move forward is on the business until there's a little bit more clarity on that picture. Again, businesses, they don't invest for the next 3 months, 6 months. They're looking at what is going to be the best investment for the next 10 years.
Yeah, and I think they might be feeling like, you know what, we got the election coming up, we got the trade talks coming up or ongoing. Let's wait a little bit, see what happens, and maybe move it towards the first part of 2019. We did a lot so far this year, so that could be my opinion on that. So.
Oh, absolutely. And then kind of parlaying off of that, another issue due to the trade talks, in my opinion, was imports increased. That hurt our net trade, which actually dragged on GDP. And trade is a more volatile area for GDP, but reason, again, I think that trade is so negative looking right now is because of the tariffs.
Right.
People are trying to get more into the country now before the tariffs are enacted next year potentially. Yeah. Also, a strong U.S. dollar keeps rising.
Yeah, which does kind of hurt our exports, helps the imports as far as less expensive for you. But anyways, that's where we stand right now. Good report, I think, on the GDP, 3.5% again. Tune in tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock on AM 760, the K from B Show. We'll talk more then. You have a great weekend, and we'll talk with you soon.